I've been using this really nice garlic olive oil called Olivel that came from Bowie Farms. And that come from Toto's aunt. Toto's sister's mama brought us that. But I've got a top round here.
My London broil right there.
London broil, and they can be kind of tough if you don't do them right. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but I was watching videos last night. Man, it's common sense, people. You don't put a piece of meat in the crock pot.
Green beans are all cut up, and celery. That was 12 ounces of green beans. And if you don't...
With beef stock or any other liquid, and cut up potatoes and carrots and green beans and throw it all in the pot and cook it for 8 hours. Unless you're making soup.
Because I want this to be kind of like a soup or a stew.
Toto. Yes, I said Toto. I said Toto. Yes, I did say Toto. It's common sense, people. So what I've done is use some of the beautiful garlic oil on the meat and salt and peppered it and let it sit. And now I'm going to take the meat, and it's oiled so it won't stick, and I'm going to set it down in the crock pot, and I'm going to put on the lid, and I'm not going to put anything else in there, and I'm going to turn it to high. Make sure it's plugged in. Yes, it's plugged in. And I'm going to turn it to high, and I'm going to let it cook a while so that when I put my vegetables in, when it's all done at the end of the day, it won't be soup. Okay, it's me. It's Ed. So, like I was talking about, you know, just dumping, they're these dump and go recipes, and I'm telling you, some of them are just god awful. And these people have thousands of views and people telling them how delicious it looks. And it comes out looking like frickin' mush. It comes out, it's disgusting. You've seen some of it in the video, or if you haven't already, you're gonna see it in the video because I've cut some clips. Jesus Christ, you might as well have the Three Stooges cooking your dinner. You know, like I said, if you love somebody and you were going to cook something for them, wouldn't you season it? Now, I've got potatoes here, and I do not cook a potato without seasoning it first with salt, pepper, and paprika whenever I cook potatoes. I've got some onions, a bell pepper, a couple carrots sliced up, a couple cloves of smashed garlic over there. I've got some mushrooms over here with a couple of bay leaves, a cup of broth. I'm not a chef. I don't know what I'm doing. But you know, I used to watch my mother. And when she would cook things, make a stew or make something in the crock pot, everything got seasoned. She used to make her own sauerkraut, you know? Oh God, and it would stink up the place. It was in this big clay pot with this heavy lid. And she'd ferment that cabbage, and I'd make the mistake one time and open that lid, and oh my God, it was just something else. But in the end, it was delicious. But, you know, and she would make a fresh ham or fresh pork roast, and it would be seasoned, you know, with just salt and pepper, and no onion powder and garlic powder. Use onions and garlic, man. You know, what the hell? You know, I use paprika on potatoes because paprika and potatoes definitely go together. But
anyway, let's see how it looks here. Everything came out good. The carrots were a little mushy, but the green beans were good.
Like I'm saying, some of the cooking that I see on YouTube it's awful. It is god awful.
Starting to look a little more appetizing there now that I'm stirring it up.
I like to cook. I like cooking for Linda. Right now, her And my sister-in-law, Carol, Fig's mom, went to Fooey Farms, and they're going to some farm markets and stuff around down in the harbor here in Ashtabula. So, okay, so the meat has been cooking for about almost 2.5 hours, 2.25 hours in the crock pot by itself. So I'll show you that. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, without spilling my vegetables all over, I'm going to take my onions and I'm going to put them in the very bottom. And I season all my vegetables. These got salt and pepper on them. If you love somebody, wouldn't you season the vegetables and the food before you just dump it into a cooker to cook? I mean, really, just, you know, plain old. And since it's just in there for flavor, we're going to throw the garlic in there too. Okay? Get them moved around a little bit. Now, I'm going to take the piece of meat. I'm going to take the meat and I'm going to set it on top of the onions. Okay? On top. Then I'm going to take my seasoned potatoes.
Baby potatoes, I think it's about 1.75 pounds.
And I'm going to put them around. That's a bullshit scam call. I'm not going to answer it. If it was actually important, they'll call back, right? The people I need to talk to got my cell number. We'd like to do away with that landline, but right now we kind of can't. Okay, I put in my seasoned potatoes.
So I'm just going to dump all those guys in there.
I'm going to put in my pepper, bell pepper, seasoned with salt and pepper. I'm going to put in my carrots, seasoned with salt and pepper.
This is 1 pound of baby carrots. I'm just going to dump all those in.
All around. Yep, and just dump it. That's good, Ed. Then I'm going to take my mushrooms that I've just cut up, you know, big chunks of mushroom on top. You don't want them floating down there in broth. A few more mushrooms. I use these all up. They won't last much longer. Use those vegetables before they go bad, right? So my mother used to say, eat this before it goes bad. How close is it?
Okay, green beans are all cut up, and celery.
And then finally, I'm going to take a cup of very dark broth, and I'm going to pour it over here in one spot, and just let it run down in there so that it just doesn't wash all the seasoning off of everything, right? Then we're going to take our bay leaves. I'm going to put a bay leaf over here. Put a bay leaf down in there. Maybe down there. Just put it right on top there. Okay. And then just give this a little jiggle. Yep. Okay, so the meat's already cooked for 2 hours. Hey, Figgy, what? 2 hours on high. Now I've got it back on high. I'm going to seal the lid just for safety, right? If I trip over a chihuahua and knock the crock pot off and make a mess, that'd be terrible. All right, 2 hours. It's not floating in there. There's nothing floating in there. The crock pot isn't stuffed to the top with it shoved down. It's one piece of meat. We're 2 people. That's already more vegetables. Oh, and I forgot something. I forgot my thyme, sprigs of thyme that we grew. And don't worry, with all the liquid that'll come out of these vegetables, anything that's on top will get plenty of moisture and liquid and juice. So we're gonna let that sit. All right, I'm gonna let this cook, and I'll be back later. It's now 2:36, so it's been in there for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to give it a couple hours. I'll check on it every now and then. I don't think I have to really stir anything. There's no stirring, so I'll be back in a while. I'm going to go play with the dogs. Okay, in my haste and preaching about not using, dried spices, I forgot to put the Worcestershire sauce in there. So I don't think it's too late. And there's the meat, so I'll just dump some right on the meat. There. That'll cover it. Worcestershire sauce. Yo. You two. Figgy. Oh, Fig. That's Toto's sister from another litter. Stand still. You two. Yeah, they're good dogs. They are really, really good dogs. Okay, it's been about 4 hours. I'm gonna pull this meat out. Ooh. Get that on a plate. Got the bay leaf there. Get a bowl. Remember these colored bowls? These are old. And I'm going to fish out the vegetables. The meat cooked about 2.5 hours longer than the vegetables did. Hope I'm getting that in the shot. All these carrots. All the onion, mushrooms, peppers. Okay, there's all the vegetables. There's a sprig of thyme. We won't eat that.
That's all you want, is everything to be tender. And if you're going to cook this on high...
Set these aside. And I'm going to get this juice. With some onion in it. Got that in a pan. We're going to take this over to the stove and make some gravy. Okay, we got this kind of bubbling pretty good here. Take it off the heat. What we're going to do is add a cornstarch slurry. Never add cornstarch to anything hot. Stirring.
Starting to look a little more appetizing there now that I'm stirring it up.
See, that's bubbling good. Turn the heat off. Let this set for a second. You can see the meat fell apart. That's what I wanted. Okay, there it is. The gravy. Put a little more on. The vegetables are tender but not mush. The meat's tender. Gravy's good. Fooey farm bread. That's some kind of sweet bread.
Anyway, let's see how it looks here. Everything came out good. The carrots were a little mushy, but the green beans were good.
One slice of dry, cleaned ham coming up.
Here we go, dinner time.